the world's greatest podcast in America. John Reed, Cody McClure. I'm in Tennessee. Cody's in California. Maybe for the final week. Have we made a decision?
Well, it all depends on the Vols. You know, I really need you to let me know soon if we're going to get this one seed or not. I know you got the inside information on that. I know you had a big discussion with Jerry Palm this morning, so I'm waiting to figure out whether or not we're going to be a one seed. Not that it's going to matter.
You got a lot of money on Tennessee to be the one seed or something?
No, it really doesn't matter because I'm probably not going to be able to go to the Sweet 16 games anyway. But I was kind of thinking it'd be cool to be in L.A. if the Vols are in L.A. But I don't know if we're going to get the Sweet 16.
Well, today, emphatically, Jerry Palm told me geography doesn't matter when it comes to seeding. So that, some people had been saying, including Joe Lenardi, that Arizona may be going to get the upper hand for the one seed because of, being out west. And then he was very dismissive of me, acting like I was a fucking Neanderthal.
I heard that. Here's a fun segment.
Like I was a Malouk. Who told you that?
Don't worry about it. I read it. Here's a fun segment. You ask me a question and I'll answer it like Jerry Palm.
Well, before we do that, I just want to point out that he ended the interview. He fell into my trap of saying that some teams don't mind being a seed lower and geography plays into a part there because some teams prefer to stay closer to home and will sacrifice a seed line. So
yeah,
I was being respectful more so than I would have been had it been like me and you, because It was Bob. It's Bob's guy. So I was like, I'm not gonna be a jerk back to this guy because he's Bob's guy. Well, but I did ask him a question that he then did say that geography mattered after telling me 10 minutes ago I was an idiot.
I heard it because I went and listened to it. I saw you posted about it, so I went and listened to it.
Yeah,
he was very condescending.
Yeah, I mean, when he came on a couple weeks ago, he had a similar tone, but it wasn't as bad. But apparently, that's just how he gets down. And I get it; he's busy right now. It's March 4th. It's go time for him. I understand. But yeah, he came across like he was feeding the poor, and he wanted us to lick his feet and wash his hands and all of those things.
Listen here, you fucking moron. Geography doesn't matter. When it comes to the NCAA tournament, they don't even look at that, you dumb son of a bitch. How could you ask me such a stupid fucking question?
I mean, that's essentially what he said.
Palm impersonation.
That was essentially what he said.
And not as many words.
No, in more words.
Oh, yeah.
And then turned around, and again, 10 minutes later, was like, well, they take geography into account.
Yeah.
And some teams prefer that, and I was just like, okay.
I wonder what he seemed like he was kind of snarky, maybe like in a bad mood. So I wonder what he would have said had you been like, "Oh, I thought geography didn't matter, Jerry."
I almost dropped interesting. So geography matters, but again, I wasn't going to do that to Bob.
Don't you speak that to me that way, you son of a bitch.
Or on the way out.
I'll never be on this AM radio station again. You barely even have a signal.
And then on the way,
doing this. Bob paid me.
On the way out, thank you to the 147th ranked bracketologist out of 175 on bracketmatrix.com.
Well, I'm hoping we get that one seed, So Jerry does have us as that one seed, right? I don't know if that's a good sign if he's ranked number 147.
Well, the narrative's changing. Now you had Lenardi come out and say that the margin was razor thin, which is interesting because he's been acting like there's no chance Tennessee passes Alabama. And now the margin's razor thin because more of his colleagues have Tennessee as the one seed. And the gambling market, you can bet on these things. The gambling market has it pretty close to a coin flip between Tennessee and Arizona. Arizona's a slight favorite. I think it's like minus 140, Arizona one seed, minus 115, Tennessee one seed. So it's close.
Well, it seems to me like neither team has room for error. So I think both teams, if both teams win both games this week, it seems like Tennessee's going to have the stronger case for it if we also beat South Carolina and Kentucky. Now, if we were to split and Arizona were to get upset, they play both the LA schools this week. Maybe I should go over to Westwood, watch the UCLA game, see if I can root the boys on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think if both teams go 4-0, Tennessee should have the inside track. I mean, I would think. If they both go 1-1, Tennessee should still have the inside track because their one loss this week is going to be better. So, I don't know. It's one of those things I don't want to freak out or get mad about. It feels like a waste of time until it actually happens. But it was nice to beat Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It felt good. I really didn't expect to win down there, to be honest with you. I thought, because I was thinking, if we could go 3-1 in these last 4, I'd be happy. And I thought the one loss would probably be at Alabama. So I'm glad we got through that.
I just felt like we matched up really well with them. And you saw that with the way we could pressure the guards and our defense. And also Alabama just didn't have anything down low. I mean, that Nelson guy, the big goofy white guy, I mean, sometimes he plays pretty well for them, but against Tennessee so far in 2 games, he has laid an egg. He fouled out pretty quickly against Tennessee on Saturday. He has no answer for Tennessee down low. So I didn't mind the matchup there.
It was refreshing to see a guy with a mustache playing basketball. You don't see that as much in today's game, so I realize he's from Alabama, so that it's more likely that he would have a mustache, but I appreciated that at least.
So if Tennessee makes the Final Four, if Tennessee gets the 1 seed out west, you're going to stay in California.
I don't know. I mean, I'll know more this week. This is kind of the deciding week. So
if Tennessee wins, if Tennessee goes 2-0 on Saturday night, you're like, fuck it, I'm in. Give me 1 more month.
Well, then again, I mean, I'm probably not going to be able to go to the Sweet 16 games because I already looked at tickets.
How much are they?
Well, all I could find was the secondary market. Like when you go on the official website, it doesn't show tickets. So I had to go to Ticketmaster, and it's like $387 for the get-in price up in the nosebleeds. So I mean, I'm not going to do that anyway. So
for all three games,
I'm guessing that's for all sessions. Yeah,
that wouldn't be. I mean, that's not terrible, I guess. But yeah, like if Tennessee loses and you don't get to go to the Elite Eight game, then you feel really fucking stupid.
Yeah, right. Now, I did go, interestingly enough, though, if you go on the cryptoarena.com or whatever they call it now, Tennessee is featured right on the front. So it's like a little bit of foreshadowing, maybe.
Interesting.
They've got if you go to buy tickets on the arena, it says, West Region, whatever they call it, Sweet 16. And it's just a crowd shot of Tennessee fans. So.
How did your weekend go outside of Tennessee winning? Because that's really what I planned my entire weekend around was the Tennessee game. I was fired up. I said today it felt like a football game in the sense of you had that anticipation, and I was just watching the clock on Saturday just trying to get to 8 p.m. And then the win basically carried me all through Sunday. I felt good.
It did feel good. Yeah, it was nice. And then yesterday, Caitlin Clark passed Pete Maravich for the all-time scoring. So
Ponytail Pete. Caitlin Clark. That's what they're calling her.
Really?
That's what somebody's calling her, I guess. Sam brought it up on the show today and said he had seen it. So somebody's calling her Ponytail Pete. I actually did watch that game. I had it on in the background as I recorded the Reed's Ranch podcast with Seth. I had it on, watching it and kind of flipping back between that and the Lady Vols against South Carolina. Big women hoops guy over here.
I think she's good for the game. I mean, I think she's a good enough player that kind of she drums up interest from a lot of people who normally wouldn't care to watch it. And she's a good role model for girls, all over the land. Like if you see her after the game, she's signing autographs and stuff. The girls are congregated around her. Like she's like the Taylor Swift of sports, I guess, or I don't know, maybe sort of
basketball.
She's the Taylor Swift of college women's basketball in the state of Iowa.
I mean, she is a rock star, and you'll have somebody 10 years from now that's like, I got into basketball because of Caitlin Clark. I mean, she had that moment before the game. I don't know if you saw it with Maya Moore, where she was talking about how much she loved Maya Moore, and that was her hero, and they actually brought her out on College Game Day.
She's the poet, right?
Yeah. She was talking about reading Maya's words while she was at UConn, and had actually been in Minnesota working in the Professional Poet League, and how Maya Moore made such an impact, blah, blah, blah. And then they brought her out in a wheelchair and, like, rolled her up to her, and Caitlin got to hug her and was, like, shrieking and crying, which was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. She's like, oh, my God, it's the best moment of my life.
So inspiring, powerful.
So,
Powerful
like,
stuff.
20 years from now, 15 years from now, 10 years from now, you'll have somebody that's really good in college that gives the credit to Caitlin Clark.
Right. Yeah, and boy, does she deserve it. How was my weekend, you ask? Well, my weekend was fine, although I did have a small run-in with a UCLA campus cop.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to deliver an order over there, and I parked in a no parking zone.
Oh,
with
no.
with my flashers on, and I walked up this big long set of steps and got all the way up to the top, trying to deliver this order, and then I heard the megaphone, the cop, like, move your car. And I went down there, and I got to say, this guy was a real dick.
Did you finish your delivery first, I assume?
No, I didn't. I had to go back.
Oh.
Yeah. And because I went down there, and he was mad. He was very mad, and he was not nice about it. He told me this whole thing about how, just because you're delivering an order does not mean you are exempt to the rules and all this shit, just condescending, and all I could say, yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. And I feel kind of dumb saying yes, sir, to a campus cop. Like, had he been a regular, man who wears a badge, fine. If it was a city cop, I'd understand. A real cop. This guy's a campus cop. I kind of wanted to give him some lip back, and then I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. He could probably tase me if he wanted to and, like, find an excuse. So
I can relate. I got punked out for a little bit today by the 147th ranked bracketologist in America.
That's true. Not a good 24 hours for us there. But
so what happened? Did you move the car?
I said, yes, sir, I'm sorry about that, and I moved the car, yeah.
Where'd you move it to?
I found another area. It's a pain in the ass delivering anything over there, too.
And then you walked back over and had to walk back up those stairs again, or did you just keep the food?
Yeah, I had to walk up the stairs again, and of course the dude didn't tip me. Like, it's always the people who want you to do extra who don't tip. That's the thing I've noticed. The people that expect more out of you are the ones that don't tip you.
I left a 19% tip yesterday at dinner because the guy wasn't very good, and I still felt bad about that. 19%. That's where I've been conditioned. It was a nice little sunny day here. I went to just Double Dogs. I mean, nothing special, but the guy was terrible. And I still felt so much pressure. I didn't give him the full 20. I didn't give him anything extra, but I was like 19%, and I still felt bad about it. There's also a little part about it, like, might sound like really, really douchey, but, like, I also, like, wonder, like, if I ever go out, if somebody knows who I am. Like, if they're around that age, you know what I mean? And then, like, I leave a bad tip, and then I get blasted on the internet for being an asshole. And you're not going to win in the court of public opinion of being like, hey, you're really, really bad. I had to go to the bar and get my refills for drinks. Like, you couldn't even be there to do that.
I don't think that's douchey. You're well known in the community.
Well, not like that. I mean, I'm not that well known to where, like, random person at the working might know me. But just in case, I didn't want them to be like, hey, this guy's a fucking asshole that only leaves $3 on 30 or something, like,
If there's one table left and it's you and JP Estrella at the host booth, at the host stand, I think you get that table.
Depends where we're at. If we're in West Knoxville, I like my chances.
It does depend. But you're probably going to be in West Knoxville.
Yeah, I'll take my chances there. I'll take my chances. So, yeah, what else did you do this weekend? So it sounds like you're doing food delivery. That sounds pretty dreadful.
Yeah, it's terrible. I did that, and I did some stand-up, did a few little jokes. Yesterday they had an open mic in a place called Van Nuys, which is here in the Valley. And it's a place called Liquid Zoo, which is basically just a bar. But I did your great aunt joke, and your great aunt joke worked.
Let's go.
Just kind of a good line there. So that was good. Other than that, I just drive around and kind of sit in my car waiting on the next move in my life. So, not a lot to report from me. I woke up with some back pain this morning. That seems to be getting worse. This bed that I sleep in is not a high quality. I mean, this is not a sleep number. It's not a Tempur-Pedic or anything. So I've been waking up with back pain, and then my eggs I had this morning. Did I tell you about the little Greek place I go for my breakfast?
No.
I got this little place next door. It's it's a Greek restaurant, but they do different types of food, and I've built this nice relationship with the Mexican woman who works there, and she knows what I order now when I go in. I get the same thing because I'm trying to do like keto, so I do the same thing. I get 4 eggs scrambled, American cheese, full order bacon, half order sausage. So really get that meat and that fat, that protein, really get things going, no carbs.
It looks like it's working.
And so this morning, though, I noticed my eggs were a little bit like, the Dr. Seuss novel, Green Eggs and Ham?
I'm familiar.
My eggs were like a little bit green looking. And I'm like, what's the deal with that? And I've had eggs that kind of look like that before, but something just looked a little bit off about them. And I don't know if that means that they're like out of date or what that means. They had like kind of a dark tint to them. And also they didn't put American cheese in. They put cheddar cheese. And she never makes that mistake. I don't know why things were not good this morning, but it was kind of a bad experience this morning with the eggs. But I don't like cheddar cheese on eggs. I don't like, if the cheddar cheese doesn't get melted properly, I like more of a gooey coating in the eggs. And look, I know American cheese is not real cheese. I understand that. But I like the way that it melts on the eggs. Just give me a good Kraft single or two on the scrambled eggs. That's what I like. You can judge me if you want, but that's what I like. The cheddar cheese doesn't melt properly, and you get that kind of stringy, and I don't like the way that tastes on eggs. It kind of grosses me out. But anyway, so I had back pain, and that gave me some stomach trouble earlier. So, not the best start to the week. But other than that, I mean, those are just minor complaints. We're doing okay otherwise.
I watched the first Dune yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kept thinking about you when I would see Timothy. He is a pretty good looking guy.
Yeah. I incorporated him into my stand-up routine too.
How so?
I had a joke come to me in a dream for some reason. Like I was getting ready to wake up one morning and I was like half asleep and I was thinking about Timothy when I woke up. And the joke was like, you just open up. You start with, Dune 2 is out in theaters now. And I'm not gay, but Timothy Chalamet, I tell you what, it might be, it's just a throwaway line, It's like, could be a little gay for Timothy Chalamet or something like that. I don't know. It didn't get any laughs. It's not really a joke. It's just a phrase, sentence.
An admission, a confession.
Well,
I thought you were going to have something deep there because I don't know if you're familiar with the movie, but he dreams. He has visions in his dreams, so I thought that's where it was going.
Oh, no, I never saw the movie.
Oh, okay.
Actually. And then you got, Zendaya or what? Zendaya?
Zendaya.
Yeah, she's cute too. So
yeah, she's pretty as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 2 really good looking. And you got Florence Pugh. She's hot.
She wasn't in the first one.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the second one yet. I'm going to go see the second one Thursday or Friday.
Feel like these are the big actors of the new generation. This is the next crop of Hollywood actors.
That kind of is the big three almost.
Dune 2 is the new generation's Godfather.
I mean, I don't know about that, but Zendaya, Florence Pugh, and Chalamet are probably 3 of the 5 leading actors of the next generation. You are right about that.
Well, that's what, Godfather 2. I mean, Pacino, De Niro, Marlon Brando, obviously, Robert Duvall. So it's kind of the superstar cast. Not
How-
exactly the same, I understand, but
How
you know,
old were they when they did that?
I mean, Marlon Brando had to be pretty old. I mean, not well. No, he was still probably in his prime. And what was that? 74.
The second one was 74.
Pacino and De Niro were young.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Godfather 2 was in 74.
Okay. For some reason, I thought the first one was 76. That's the number I had in my head, but I don't know.
And the young Robert Duvall, he plays Tom. Robert Duvall's an underrated actor to me. I've always liked Robert Duvall.
I want to see the new Zendaya movie where she's a tennis star, and it looks like she has a bunch of threesomes.
Oh, yeah?
Have you seen the trailers for that?
No, is it about the tennis? What is it about?
Yeah, tennis.
Who does she play? Like
She
Serena?
plays like a young tennis prodigy. I don't know why you made her Serena.
I don't know what you'd make a tennis movie about if not about Serena. Actually, they already got a movie though, didn't they?
Who's they? Just the Williams family?
Yeah, Serena. Yeah. What wasn't Will Smith or was it Denzel?
Why are you confused between Will Smith and Denzel?
Because I don't remember exactly the movie, but I know somebody played their dad. It had to be Will Smith's not old enough, right? Was it Denzel? You're trying to paint me in a certain kind of light, but I just don't remember the details of the movie.
You don't think Will Smith is old enough to play somebody's dad? Is that what you just said? Do you know how old Will Smith is?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be like 50, right? But he's not as old as Denzel.
Well, no, he's not. But you don't think Will Smith is old enough to play someone's dad?
How old is Will Smith?
Did you watch
46,
The Pursuit
50?
of Happiness? That was like 15 years ago.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess he could. So it was him, you're saying?
Yes,
Or
yes. Will Smith was King Richard. Yes.
Does
It
Denzel-
wasn't about the grown-up Serena Williams and Venus Williams characters either. It was about them as kids.
Oh, okay. Does Denzel not get big roles anymore?
I mean, I don't know. He was in the Equalizer 3. I don't really consider that a big role, but I don't know when the last he was in Macbeth. That was at least an artsy movie. I don't know if you consider that like a big time role or anything, but he was in Macbeth.
I think Billy Shakespeare wrote that.
Yeah, not the movie, but the original
Right.
story, sure.
So what's going on in your world this week?
Hopefully moving to the new studio.
Ah,
Yeah, we're supposed to get our last piece of equipment tomorrow, so hopefully that gets put in. Got a big week in the show. It's kind of cool. You know, besides getting big boyed by Palm, I got Grant Williams on Wednesday and Rick Barnes on Friday, so that's pretty good for this time of the year.
oh, wow. Grant Williams
Yeah.
and Rick Barnes. Wow.
Do you think I should ask Grant Williams about his dick pic getting leaked?
I mean, yeah, but you're not going to.
I may, without using those words, but again, like, I got to be respectful to my boy Bob. He's the one with these relationships.
He's getting all these interviews.
Yeah.
How
So I
does
gotta
he
be
get these interviews? Why is
I got to
he...
be respectful. He knows people that knows people.
Oh, okay.
He knows people that knows people.
What will you ask Grant about then, if not his hog?
I'm gonna find a way to ask about the hog, but
I don't
probably guys under distractions, because between that and Draymond Green making fun of him and Dallas basically calling him a fat loser on the way out, like there's a lot. Like it's been a bad couple months for Grant in terms of public opinion. So like I'm not gonna list all those per se, but find a way to talk about that. I think through that.
It'd be funny if you just kind of beat around the bush and then Grant's like, oh, yeah, I've had some distractions lately. I don't know if you saw, but I had my dick out on the internet.
So your hog got posted. Your ex-team called you losers. It called you a fat loser. And Draymond Green said you're not a real tough guy. How does that make you feel? Maybe just that. See what he says.
I've always kind of found Grant Williams to be unlikable.
I liked him when he played for Tennessee. And I like him when he comes on the radio show.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not a part of this interview.
Okay.
I'd ask him why he flopped so much.
He didn't flop when he tried to fight Jimmy Butler. He was tough on that game. I don't know if you remember that from the playoffs.
Oh, I remember.
So yeah, I got Grant Williams, Rick Barnes. I was thinking this is one of the only times I've missed being at noon, other than every morning when I wake up. But I really want to go to South Carolina on Wednesday night to watch us win a championship.
You could take the show off.
No, I can't do that.
Can
Can't
you do
take
it
the
from your
show
car?
off. I can't do that.
Has anybody been late yet?
No, I was the closest today.
Yeah.
Today was a bad day for me. I woke up at 5 completely refreshed, ready to go, and I made the mistake of staying in bed, and I dozed off at like 6:15, and much like Jon Snow and Joe Biden, I woke up with a
Right.
and I had to get up and rush, and I made it into the studio at 6:58. So that's the closest.
Oh.
I'm the
Got me
closest.
close.
Yeah, I'm the closest. Luckily, they were already set up. We didn't have to worry about the camera and everything. So, we got the show started at the exact right time, 7:01 or whatever. But I sent them a courtesy text like, "Hey, I'm cutting it close. Going to be on time, but just wanted you to know that I'm coming." That's how close it was.
There's a train.
No, I didn't bother with the train excuse. I just said, "Hey, cutting it close, but I'll be there on time. Don't worry."
Sam hasn't even been late yet.
No, Sam got there at like 6:56 one day. That's the closest he's been.
What an upgrade from Marcus, huh?
Yeah. Among other upgrades, Marcus, upgrading to Sam from him. Really, Mark, really all of our producers, really since Ben Lee, none of them were on time consistently. So Sam has been really solid when it comes to that.
A blessing in disguise.
What's the disguise?
Did you see that there was a truck hanging off a bridge in Louisville the other day?
I did see that. Apparently, they were in there for 40 minutes while they waited to get rescued. While they waited for rescuers to get there.
I think that was on Friday. It'd be pretty terrifying, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Especially over a river.
That Louisville bridge is apparently like 100 feet high, too.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself in that position? I mean,
Apparently, there was a 3-car wreck, and I don't know if the transfer truck swerved or because I can't imagine anybody hit it hard enough to knock it off course. So I imagine they tried to swerve, and one thing led to another. I saw some people saying it was a woman driver. I don't know if that's true or not, but to be dangling there, pretty scary. Although I probably would have shimmied out and tried to run up the back like Paul Walker in Fast 5. I think that's what I would have done.
Yeah, you'd be at the bottom of the Ohio River.
No, I think I would have ran up like Paul Walker. Yeah, I would have ran up, and right as it slipped, I would have jumped off and grabbed a hold of somebody that was, there to catch me.
Yeah.
I think that's what would have happened.
I don't think that's realistic.
It's probably low probability, but it could happen.
Do you think that he radioed in to dispatch and said he was going to be, Tommy, I don't think I'm going to be able to drop this load off in time. I'm hanging off the Ohio River Bridge. I just shit on myself.
I would be too terrified to even reach for the CB. Maybe they just got headsets that can easily tap in now, but I don't think I would move.
Help me. Please send somebody to help me. I'm going to drown.
How badass would it feel to be the person that rappelled down and got him, though?
Well, those guys they're trained for that, They're like, I bet a lot of those elite rescue teams they're probably like former military guys. The guy was like a Navy SEAL in another life or something. Now he does that, but just to pay the bills. Or maybe they're just regular folks.
To feel some type of rush. No, I would imagine they got some type of military background. I would imagine.
You got to think.
At least like a reserve.
Or those guys that go some of those rescue efforts have got to be really exhilarating stuff. Like when you've got a river flowing, somebody's trapped in a car, something like extreme flooding, and they send those rescue teams in there to pull a baby out of a car or something.
Imagine you're the rescue guy and you rappel down and you're getting ready to strap up and you come down and you see you.
Yeah. We're gonna need a few others here. Has anybody got the crane? Do we have
We're not-
access to a crane?
We're not going to be able to pull this guy out of the window. This just got more complicating.
Yeah. He's going to have to drown. Where do you think that like a rescue team draws the line at a certain risk? If it's, what am I trying to say? Like if somebody calls, like if their dog is stuck in the car or something like that, it's like a raging river. I bet they draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's the real life application of the trolley thing, right? Where you're just trying to save the most lives possible. You know, you're not going to be able to be perfect, but you have to make a calculated decision. In that situation, though, where someone's just dangling over the bridge, there's no real excuse because it's just your life or theirs, and I feel like you kind of have an obligation / oath to try to save the life. It's not like, hey, trying to get this guy could kill 5 other people. It's just like you and them. So like you probably have to go out and try to do it.
I think what I would have done is just put a big net underneath where the truck is hanging and just have the guy fall into the net. And then you just kind of pull him up like you're pulling fish out of the ocean.
So that would have been your plan, just to get a net wide enough to stretch all the way across the river?
No, it doesn't have to be that wide. It just has to be
Where's the other end of the net hook into?
the helicopter.
So you get a helicopter and fly it really, really low and hook the net to the side of what? Another helicopter? You got 2 helicopters there that's going to catch a big-ass transfer truck? You're going to make the person jump out? What happens if the truck falls while the person's jumping out?
That's not going to happen. I mean, that would be an unfortunate accident. But what you
and
do
now
is
the
you
transfer
can
truck has brought the helicopters crashing down too.
Right. Yeah. I don't mean to, criticize their rescue effort. I mean, obviously they saved the guy. I'm just looking at other possibilities.
Or girl. I still think it might be a woman.
Yeah, it was a woman driver actually, because I remember my mom's the one that told me about it, and she called me Friday and said, "Have you seen this, Cody? There's a truck hanging off a bridge in Louisville." I said, "No, I hadn't even seen that, Mom." And she said that it was a woman truck driver. I said, well, that explains it. She was like, "That's not funny."
How does that make you feel as a fellow professional driver?
Well, what do you mean? That a woman can drive a truck and I can't?
No. I just mean someone in your industry getting into a near-death experience like that.
That's not really my industry. And I've been in a near-death experience in my industry, so I can relate. I mean, in some ways.
Have you ever thought about driving trucks?
Yeah, I could be a truck driver. I don't
have you ever thought about it?
Though.
Well, I mean, yeah, but have you ever thought about getting it?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it, but it do no good with no CDL.
Well, again, have you considered getting your CDL?
Wouldn't I have to take a class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, I think it's like a 6-week thing, though. It's not very long.
6 weeks.
6 weeks might not even be might not even be the case. I think it might be a lot shorter than that, actually.
Oh,
they have the school right next to where we used to go to work every day.
Yeah, but the studio's moving, and who has that kind of time? My dad.
You have that much time.
My dad used to teach at truck driving school, actually. I wonder if he could just write me a slip.
I don't think so.
I don't think I'd want to learn how to drive a big truck like that.
Okay.
And you know me, I like driving through hills and stuff, and trucks they don't do very good in hills. They have to have those runaway ramps, it's like the big sand trap, and you go up a hill. I wouldn't want to get stuck in a situation like that.
They just slow down.
Well, it's not that simple.
I think a lot of times it is. Just don't go too fast down the hill. Now, sure, if there's ice or somebody bows up and stops in front of you, sure, I get all that.
Yeah,
but I think a lot of I've only seen somebody have to use that runaway ramp, at least coming from Nashville, like once. I've seen somebody pulled over into it once. So I think it's okay. I think you could manage. What else? What other show topics you got for me since you don't want to be a truck driver?
I don't know if that would be the best career for me. I thought about maybe looking into being a fisherman. Do you think that could be a good career for me, fisherman?
You'd be really, really hot in the rubber suits, I think.
Rubber suits.
Yeah. They got to wear like rubber suits.
I'm talking about one of these old men that just go fishing off the ocean. You know, you get a boat, you go out with some sardines, and you just you try to get the big albacore tuna or whatever it is you're looking for the day, maybe a shark.
How's that paying the bills?
I don't know how well it would pay the bills, but I'd have plenty to eat.
So you just want to go fishing?
Yeah, kind of. I've been deep sea fishing before. Did I ever tell you about it?
I don't know. You got really drunk, I guess?
No, I did. Well,
for some reason,
drink that day, but...
for some reason, my story, you got drunk and went on that boat and then got really seasick, but maybe that wasn't you.
No, I didn't get seasick. I don't get seasick. I'm one with the ocean. I caught a whole bunch of snapper. Best snapper I've ever had. Guy cooked it right there on the boat. Lightly fried. Peanut oil.
Well, what other show topics you got for me?
Well, there's a theater in England, in the UK, who is talking about maybe having something called black-only nights. I don't know if you've seen this story going around, but it's basically what they're calling it, a safe space from whites. So this a theater in the UK, I guess like a live performance theater, and the black-only nights.
And
I wonder if you have any thoughts about this.
And you said it's not the movie theater; it's like the play theater.
I think it's plays. Yeah, safety from whites is what they're touting. You know, a place to. It's a safe space from white people.
I don't know. They say England's pretty racist.
Yeah, I could see that. Normally, people that don't take good care of their teeth they do skew to be a bit more racist.
I don't know if you can make those jokes when you've admitted to bleeding on your pillow multiple nights.
I don't think that's from a lack of brushing my teeth.
I think it's a lack of dental care.
Yeah, but my teeth are not like janky. I mean, they're at least straight.
No, but they're probably about, I don't know, under 4.5 years before they start falling out.
Why would my teeth fall out?
When your gums are bleeding, I feel like that's the next thing that happens, no?
That doesn't even make sense, that my teeth would fall out. I told you I gave up the Copenhagen. Although, you know, these Zen, I told you I've been doing these Zen packages. Well, I finally got signed up for the Zen Rewards program. Every can has like a little QR code on it. You type the code in the computer and it gives you points. So each can is worth 15 points. And I thought that with the rewards you would get, that maybe it would be like every, 10 cans you buy, you get a free can of Zen or something like that. But that's not at all the rewards. They don't give you free Zen at all. You just keep building and building and building these points until you got to spend like probably $30,000 on Zen, and eventually they'll give you like an Amazon gift card.
This was quite the roller coaster. I thought something so good was about to happen to you. You were so excited about being in the Zen Rewards program, and no payoff at all, huh?
Or you can get nicer prizes. Like you can get like a PS5 or something, but it's like, you got to have like 9,000 points to get a PS5. And so I'll just tell you, each can's 15. So that's 6 cans, right? So a little quick math, 6 cans of Zen at $6 a piece, at least in California. I don't know how much they are in other places, but that's $36 to get 100 points. So how many hundreds are in 9,000?
90.
Okay, so what's 90 times 36?
It wouldn't be 90 times 6. So 90 times 36. Let's see.
Because I'm spending $36 per 100 points.
So let's just call it, oh God, I hope I'm doing this math right. So 36.
Can you even do math?
Yeah, I can do math. 36 times 100 is 3,600.
How do you not know this in your head?
So let's remove 3,600. Let's remove 360 from 3,600, and that gets us to.
That's how you do it.
From 32. Let's get $3,240.
Wow, that was impressive. Yeah, so I can pay $3,240 for a PS5. That's not fair. It's not fair at all.
Well, you also get
You
the
should,
Zen.
yeah, but you'd be better off just not doing the Zen and just saving that money toward the PS5, you know?
Well, yeah, but I think you want to do the Zen.
Yeah, but like it's not worth it. Those rewards, they're pitiful rewards. How many PS5s could you get for $3,240? Probably at least 4. I don't know how much they run.
Are they not 500 apiece?
Are they? Well, so you could
I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking they were 500 apiece, but
so I could have all the Zen in the world, or I could buy 6 PS5s. Now tell me how that's a deal.
well, you really only need one PS5. So probably, if you could offer someone all the Zen in the world, or 5 PS5s or 6 PS5s, they'd probably take all the Zen in the world because they're addicted to it, and they only need one PS5.
What play do you think they're showing at the theater on the black only nights?
The Wiz. You ever seen it?
I've heard of it. Was Arsenio Hall? Did he have something to do with that?
Arsenio Hall? I think he might have been in it.
I think I've heard of.
Was he the actual Wiz? I don't think I made it all the way to the end. He didn't make it all the way to the end, but Richard Pryor's in it. I'm pretty sure Richard Pryor's the Scarecrow, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and there's another big character I'm forgetting.
It's like the black adaptation of The Wizard of Oz.
Correct.
I'd like to see that play.
I remember being so confused when I watched it on TV back in the day when it just randomly came on my TV. I was like, "What is this?" I was mesmerized.
Have you ever seen a Broadway play?
I've never been to Broadway, so I've never seen a Broadway play. Have I ever seen a play? I've seen the Nutcracker. Does that count?
Yeah, I mean if it's a play.
Is that considered a Broadway play though? Like it's not. Well, when I think of Broadway plays, I'm thinking of like Wicked.
Well,
I'm thinking of Cats.
Where did you see the Nutcracker? Was it at like a middle school auditorium, or
no? It was like it was at a nice Nashville, like opera house or whatever the hell
Broadway.
It's called, like a theater. I mean a theater, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know the one you're talking about, right there on 4th Avenue. What is the name of that place?
It does not look like Arsenio Hall was in The Wiz. You tricked me there. I think you might have been confusing him with Richard Pryor.
What's the name of that place in Nashville? I remember that. It starts with an S. It's like Schermerhorn or something like that.
I don't know. I went one time and watched the Nutcracker. Surely I've been to a play outside of that, but maybe not.
I'd like to see Cats in New York.
I had tickets to the Mean Girl musical. I wish I would have gone to it when it was in Knoxville, but I ended up not going. Couldn't find a date. It was in a dry spell. This was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling. It was also like on a Monday or Tuesday, so what can you do?
Yeah. They have a Broadway here. It's like kind of the old part of downtown. It's pretty cool because you've got like the fashion district and the jewelry district. And if you go down Broadway, you got like all these old theaters, like the Globe Theater, and there's the Tower Theater and the Los Angeles Theater. And it's all these, you know how I like old buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it kind of takes you back to like you're in the 1920s or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it,
probably no surprise to you, this is boring me.
oh, okay. Well, I'm just telling you about the old theaters that are there.
Shocking, everybody. Los Angeles has old theaters. More to come next episode. Shocking, everybody.
I'm sure when you come out here for the Sweet 16, you won't be viewing any of the old theaters. You probably won't even drive by the Pantages. Or the Palladium, will you?
No, but I do plan on doing more things than I did last time.
What are you going to do?
I don't know, but more things than I did last time. I just went to a music festival last time and hung out at Target and ate at Chick-fil-A.
Tell me off the top of your head, what will be your top 3 activities in Los Angeles surrounding the Sweet 16 tournament?
Watch the Vols play in the Sweet 16.
That one doesn't count.
Watch the Vols play in the Elite 8.
Those don't count. That's why you're coming.
Take a picture with Kobe Bryant's statue.
I can send you a picture of that.
Take a picture of Shaq's statue.
Shaq's statue is cool because he's like hanging off the rim. He's like elevated.
Square up and pretend like I'm boxing with Oscar De La Hoya's statue.
So you're just going to walk around by the crypt.
Find a Regal Cinemas to go watch a movie at. Find a bar. Find a bar to have some drinks at. Text my friend Brian and ask him what he's doing.
You're not even going to go to the Pacific Cinerama?
What is that?
It's a theater.
I'm going on a business trip when I go to LA, buddy. I'll be there to get to my first ever Final Four.
The Cinerama was featured in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is that where Margot goes and watches a movie?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
It seems really old. I don't really have any interest in going in there.
Speaking of that movie, they also, the scene early in the movie when like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio are like at that restaurant bar and they meet Al Pacino there.
Yeah.
Al Pacino's like an agent or whatever. So that one of my goals before I leave here is to go there, because where they shot that was in the Musso and Frank Grill, which is the oldest restaurant in Hollywood. It's been operating since 1919. So I want to try to go in there and get a steak before I leave. That's a goal of mine.
It's a goal of yours?
Yeah, to eat at like the most famous restaurant in Hollywood.
Do you have to get like on a reservation list or something?
I think you have to have a reservation, yes.
Do you just have to call and make a reservation, or do you have to be a somebody?
I don't know, but this place is
pick
full
up the
of
phone.
history.
Just pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to come eat. I'll sit at the bar. I'm by myself. It's not that complicated.
This place is full of history. It's an interesting story about it. It's been operating for so long. I told you 1919 is when it opened, and they haven't changed any of the decor in there since 1934. But back when it first opened, Hollywood Boulevard was still dirt. The street was still made of dirt. So Charlie Chaplin had his own booth at Musso and Frank's, and he used to eat lunch there, him and Rudolph Valentino. And so what they would do is they would race their horses down Hollywood Boulevard, down the old dirt road, and the first one to Musso and Frank's that would win the horse race, and the other one had to buy the other one lunch. And Charlie Chaplin's booth, he liked sitting by the window because it's the only booth in the restaurant that has a window. And so he could see out at the people on the boulevard. But him and Rudolph Valentino, they used to race their horses there. And now Marilyn Monroe, her booth, see, she liked to actually be seen. She was one of the few famous people at the time that liked being seen. Like Sinatra and all those people, their booths, they would dine in the hidden away area. But Marilyn was out there with all the people. She didn't want to hide from the public. She wanted to mingle.
An attention whore, if you will.
I don't think you got to call her a whore. That's unfair.
All right, we need to find a topic here that is going to be easily digestible in a video clip that I can post on our socials or on my socials that I'm using to post our podcast. So do you have anything on your rundown that you think is a good topic for the internet? Because so far you've given me nothing. So far you've given me nothing to cut out.
I can't help it that you're not interested. You're a bit absent today. I don't know what's going on with you.
No, you've been talking about these damn California landmarks. I'm listening.
I'm trying to give you some suggestions of things to do when you come out here.
I just told you what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk around Staples. I'm going to watch basketball. I'm going to drink.
It's not.
I'm going to soak up the sun. I'm going to find somewhere to eat. And that's it. I live a simple life. I don't need to go see. You telling me to go to an old-ass movie theater. It's not going to be prettier than the Tennessee Theater, I'll tell you that much. It's not going to look as good in there as it does here in Knoxville. Agree or disagree? The Tennessee Theater is prettier than your stupid California theater. Agree or disagree?
Well, I don't really know because I haven't been in a theater here, but I imagine they have some pretty nice looking theaters.
It's not going to be as pretty as the Tennessee Theater. We got the best in the world right here in our backyard.
Mm-hmm. Right. Did you know that whites only make up 29% of the population here
In California and Los Angeles?
in Los Angeles? 29%. I'm a minority here.
Do you feel scared?
Sometimes.
Is white the most prevalent of all the races, though?
No. Hispanics number one.
What
Hispanics it's like
what
60%.
Oh, okay.
Which, if you do the math on that, there's also like 7% of Asians. So, like, the black population's pretty low. But
Oh, dale! La viva la raza!
I think I have Hamas living next door.
That's problematic. Delete this out of the
I agree.
podcast.
I
That's
agree.
That's problematic.
It could be problematic. No, they're not really. I mean, I think they're like Croatian or something, but these dudes are partying like every night out in the courtyard. They're just out there with their wine glasses, smoking cigarettes and shit, just chain smoking. It's like Mardi Gras every night for these guys. I don't know what they do.
Why haven't you made friends with them?
What am I supposed to do?
Go out there with your own little drink and some cigarettes. Strike up a conversation. Ask them if they like to party.
I know they like to party because they party every night.
And then if they say yeah, just be like, oh, cool. Me too. I just moved out
Yeah.
here, though. I don't really have any friends.
They're always out there jumping up and down and hollering and stuff, saying things I don't understand.
Any
I don't know
broads
what-
with them?
No, just dudes. I don't know what language they're speaking. It's a little intimidating for me to not know the language.
Probably French, if I was guessing.
It's not French. I'm almost certain it's not French.
All right, so what topic do you have for our internet cutout?
What topic do you have?
You said you're booking the show. You said you're planning this whole thing.
I've covered all kinds of things in this show. I've been hitting all kinds of topics.
So you didn't have any. I mean, not every day can be a winner, I guess.
I talked about the UK theater, Black Only Nights, which you didn't have many comments on. Broadway shows. I talked about the truck hanging off the bridge. I talked about the UCLA campus cop. I got all kinds of stuff I've been talking about. What are you going to talk about?
Okay, here's our internet cutout. Did you see Saturday Night Live?
I did not.
Syndney Sweeney?
Oh, my goodness. Her breasts.
Casey Musgraves?
Nah.
Eh? You lit up for Syndney Sweeney. You don't light up for Casey Musgraves?
I mean, she's all right, yeah.
She's more attractive than Syndney Sweeney.
No.
More talented, which plays into it. I have you on the record as saying talent plays into sex appeal. Just check the tape on Caitlin Clark if you're trying to deny it. Casey is much more talented, much more decorated in her career, and more attractive as well.
I don't like the hats that Casey Musgraves chooses to wear. I don't
The
like
hats? You can
I
take
don't
hats
like-
off.
I don't like that Nashville hat aesthetic. You know, everybody you see in Nashville, all the female countries, they all have some big goofy ass hat, and they're wearing like the bell bottom jeans. I don't like their whole aesthetic.
Are you just describing Lainey Wilson? Are you confusing Casey Musgraves
Perhaps.
for Lainey Wilson?
Perhaps
Because
But
the
they
person
go-
you just described was Lainey Wilson.
They go to that Hatworks store off 8th Avenue, which I call Hateworks, by the way. I don't know if you remember the background on that store, but that was the place that got accused of being anti-Semitic. Like, the woman running the place, she's like, no Jews in here. I don't like Jews. And so I call it Hateworks. But I don't like that whole aesthetic. That whole Nashville woman country singer thing. I'm not big on that. Casey Musgraves kind of got into that, you know, I'm more of a Syndney Sweeney man. I thought SNL really kind of made her push him down, though, which I didn't care for.
You thought she had to push him down on SNL? I haven't
That's
watched yet. The pictures I've seen, they look like they're out. I mean,
I
she
thought she
knows.
looked-
She knows how to keep them out, at every turn. She knows what she's doing. She wears the proper dresses and shirts to keep her popping on the internet.
I like that Syndney Sweeney is like, I call her tits of the future, because for years and years, Dolly was kind of the queen of that. When you thought of the big chested blonde, you thought of Dolly from the 70s until, forever. That was her thing. Like the George Jones song. He says, Dolly's got two big reasons she's well known. They call me No Show Jones. Great song. But Syndney Sweeney, tits of the future.
So you think Syndney Sweeney is the new Dolly Parton?
They're fading Dolly out because she's getting old. Yeah, everybody loves Dolly, but I mean, Dolly's nearly 80 years old. And so the establishment, big tits, is officially fading Dolly out, and they're trying to put Syndney Sweeney in her place.
I don't even know how big Sydney's actually are. They look, I guess, big on her. Because, like, Dolly had the massive titties, of course, that everyone would stop and stare at. But, I think there are plenty of people that are famous that have comparable to Syndney Sweeney. But you are right that she is now the face of titties. She is the new age face of titties. I'll give her that.
Yeah, that's part of it, is you just kind of get known for it, and that becomes your thing.
And she embraces it. Lily from AT&T, she has the milk truck. She could do it, but she doesn't embrace it. She shies away from having big old titties.
Mm-hmm.
Syndney Sweeney's like, hey, here are my titties. Thank you. Thank you for the $10 million to do this movie. You might be onto something there.
I got to say, Syndney Sweeney does it for me. She does it for me.
I know I'm not a very handsome man, and I acknowledge that I have self-awareness to say that I don't do it for Syndney Sweeney. Syndney doesn't do it for me. There's something about her. I do not find her attractive. And again, yes, I understand that I'm not in position to be calling someone as attractive as Syndney Sweeney unattractive. I acknowledge that she is probably really that she is pretty, but for me, not a needle mover at all.
Are you even American?
Yeah. Red-blooded.
Let me ask you this. If you had to choose, you're getting ready to have a nice bowl of cereal for breakfast, okay? Frosted Flakes, Cocoa Puffs, whatever you prefer. If you could choose between two jars, and one of them was cow's milk, and the other one was Syndney Sweeney's titty milk, which one would you pick?
I'm calling Anne Hathaway, or I'm calling Katy Perry.
That doesn't answer the question. Cow's milk or Syndney Sweeney's titty milk?
Cow's milk.
You're gay.
I like women.
There's your clip. You can see, I set that up so we could, yeah. And you went along right, so now you can clip that out. People will be like, ha ha ha.
They'll be like, look at these two.
Clip.
Look at these two slobs talking about the attractiveness of attractive women. Who are these two idiots to put down beautiful women and objectify them in that way?
I would brush my teeth with Syndney Sweeney's titty milk.
She doesn't do it for me. She really doesn't. I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I do not. She doesn't do it for me. I don't know what I mean by that. Like, because I mean, like, I'm not sitting around with a hard on for any entertainer. Like, I don't see them on the screen all of a sudden my cock gets hard. That doesn't happen. But I'm saying
graphic. I'm not sitting around with a hard cock.
Well, I was just saying, like, whenever I see her, like, I look at the pictures, but there's no replay value. I see Dua Lipa, and I go back and I watch a couple videos, or I'll watch her dancing, and I'll save those. No, I'm not jerking off to them. I'm just saying I admire them. Syndney Sweeney, someone posts up, and I'll see, and I'm like, okay, sure. She's not traditionally beautiful, and maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just a traditional. Maybe I'm just a traditional beauty guy, and she's not that.
I think the allure is that Syndney Sweeney's the girl next door.
She's not, though.
She is. She's just attractive enough that
Does
you
she
can
have
see
a
her
personality?
being your neighbor. I don't know. Who cares?
Well, I feel like girl next door is supposed to be like personality girl too, but maybe not.
Syndney Sweeney's just attractive enough that it makes her more attractive because it's the whole like attainable factor. Like a regular good-looking dude, regular finance bro out of college, He sees Syndney Sweeney, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's a girl that could be my neighbor." One of those where, like in the movies, like you're peeking through your window curtain, and she accidentally left her blinds open, and you see her like slowly lifting up her shirt, and she's getting ready for like a hot bath, and the dude's just watching her out the window, like, "Oh yeah, she left her blinds open. Can you believe it?" She could be that type of girl, whereas someone who's too hot loses all attainability.
Who do you think hot people live next to?
Well, other hot people, but like,
You think there's just a hot community where they all live together?
yeah, sure. There's different levels of it.
There's plenty of hot people that have grown up hot that have normal neighbors. They are literally the girls next door.
Yeah, I mean that's
to
not really
someone.
what I'm. Yeah, but that's not really what I'm, getting at here. It's just kind of a metaphor for. I mean, generally, attractive people live next to attractive people, though. That's a
Rich
general
people.
rule.
Rich people live next to other rich people.
Well, rich people are generally more attractive because they breed other attractive people. It's a whole status. Like that's how it works. You drive around, one of those neighborhoods off Middlebrook. You're going to see a lot of older people, a lot of kind of half ugly people, a lot of people who worked for a living, worked with their hands. You're going to see guys with their garage doors open, like, working on a table or something like that. A lot of guys mowing their yards, and their wives are going to be there with like the lemonade, but they've got the wrinkles in their face. And they're not really, there's a little bit of history of cigarette smoking. But then you drive to say, to make it Farragut or something like that. A lot fewer garage doors open, a lot more Mercedes.
Well, yeah, you're just describing people that have money. But the first neighborhood's probably going to have some really sexy daughters too. Really sexy wives too.
It's a scale. There's going to be outliers, but generally people with more money are going to be more attractive.
Okay, I'm just saying. I don't know who in your comparison is too hot to be neighbors with someone, but I don't know. Like going back to, Anne Hathaway grew up neighbors with somebody. I know it's not somebody you're talking about. Dua Lipa probably had neighbors growing up.
Did you say Dan Hathaway?
Yeah, Dan Hathaway and Dua Lipa. They had neighbors growing up, I would imagine. But either way, that's fine.
Dua Lipa? Isn't that language learning software people use? Try to become bilingual?
And then Dua Lipa is what women watch and become a little bisexual. Am I right?
How could you not watching a girl like her?
Yeah, but overall, I acknowledge that it sounds pretty stupid, but Syndney doesn't do it for me.
Okay. Syndney Sweeney or, let's just take the whatever you consider to be like your, I don't know. I don't want to say hottest. I don't want to sound like a pig, but whatever the most attractive girl you've ever been with. The one that stands out for you, like, boy, I'd like to,
So you're asking if Syndney Sweeney is hotter than any girl I've ever had sex with? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm asking if you could take your greatest sexual memory and like replicate that, or you can have a shot with Syndney Sweeney.
A shot, or I'm actually banging Syndney Sweeney?
You're going on a date. You just need to not fuck. You gotta not fuck it up.
Nah, the way my stomach's set up, either I'm bound to drink too much. It's possible, depends on what the date is, or some food's not going to sit right with me. Plus, I might be annoyed at her stupid face that she always makes when she's trying to be dramatic.
Oh, I love that face. The hottest.
This is her in Euphoria. No, he's your friend. She's my best friend. Stop.
You look like a fish out of water.
That's what I think she looks like. Every time I see her, she looks like a fish out of water.
Like a piranha that got left on the beach.
I'm gonna cry. She's my friend. Maybe that's it. Maybe I just hated her in Euphoria, so maybe she's tainted there.
Well, I never
But
saw Euphoria.
if you're telling me, yeah, I mean, like, I'm good. I've had good sexual experiences. I'll lock in my own sexual experiences.
Syndney Sweeney or Timothy Chalamet?
Who's more objectively attractive? Probably Chalamet.
He might be more feminine too.
Just objectively attractive. Are you chopping ice? What the hell are you doing? All right, I got nothing else for you today.
I didn't have a dream about Syndney Sweeney.
That is true. That's all I got today. I'm hungry. You got anything you want to get off your chest before we go?
Just Syndney Sweeney's breast milk.
Do you have a stand-up recording for us to include in this episode?
No, not.
So we said we're going to do that at least once every 2 weeks, and you haven't done it since.
Well, I've got a recording, but it's a halfway bomb.
It's okay. I think people will like that. Here's Cody failing.
No, I don't think it's time for a recording, is it? Wouldn't it be next Monday?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying you haven't posted one in a month, at least. So, I mean, you could say whether or not it's time for it or not. I don't know.
I'm just trying to get better.
That's good. I applaud you for that. I'm glad you're trying to get better. It's fine. We don't have to have one. No big deal.
This was a fun episode. You didn't contribute much, but we got through it anyway.
What do you mean I didn't contribute much? Did you not hear the way I talked about Jerry Palm at the beginning of the show?
Yeah, he's gonna hear that too. You're gonna hear back from Jerry Palm.
Listen to me, you goddamn motherfucker. I'll show you rude. I'll show you fucking rude. You better not show up in Los Angeles for that tournament. If you're there, I'm gonna fucking come kick your ass, you piece of shit. You bald motherfucker.
He's probably bald too, isn't he? If we go, are you sure that you're gonna come to Los Angeles if we make it there? If we're a 2 seed, we'll go to Houston, right? If we go to the Final Four, will you be going to that in Phoenix? Okay. Are you going to the first round games? Can't be bothered to see us beat the shit out of Tarleton State. Love you. Didn't record. Well, we both show 99% from what I can see. So I think